Hi,
Hello.
and how are you today? Had a good day at work? Hmm? Did you get up, have a little breakfast this morning? I want to know. This is this video. We're just asking about your day.
Oh, darn.
Yeah, yeah. Did you watch any good horror movies lately? Did you watch an old one and a new one, and maybe thought about comparing the two?
Because we did.
Yeah, we did. And this episode of Old School or New School, we decided
Mm-hmm.
Dawn of the Dead.
Yeah, that's one we've been kicking around for a long time.
Mm-hmm. And we finally pulled the trigger on it.
Yep.
And this is the 1978 Dawn of the Dead and the 2004 Dawn of the Dead.
Mm-hmm.
And the way we usually do this is we'll try and guess which one
Mm-hmm.
the other liked better. And we do it in a nice rating system of 0 to 10.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, we're going to go crazy with spoilers.
And I guess specifically we watched the, what was it called? The complete cut
Yes.
on YouTube because the 78 Dawn of the Dead is not really in distribution anymore, but
Mm-hmm.
the people of YouTube have posted three versions of the movie. The original, I guess the DVD one, and then kind of like the complete cut
Theatrical.
was kind of like, yeah, the theatrical, like the extended cut, and then kind of, I guess, the complete cut, which is like an assembly of a bunch of different footage all put together in one cohesive whole.
Mm-hmm. And then the 2004 version, which is I wouldn't say it's a remake.
No, I mean it technically is.
Same premise,
Yeah,
but
and I in particular watched the unrated director's cut. I don't know if that's the one you watched.
I don't think so.
Yeah,
But because if you're like, remember this part, and I'm like, no,
yeah,
then I guess we'll find out.
yeah.
But hey Nick,
Mm-hmm.
the 78 Dawn of the Dead, 0 to 10, what'd you give it?
I think I'm gonna give this one a 5 because it was pretty good,
Yeah.
and also pretty dated.
Yes.
And if I'd never seen this one before,
Mm-hmm.
and I would say if you've never seen the original Dawn of the Dead before, probably don't start with the complete cut
No.
because there was a lot of shit in here that they probably added just to be like, no, let's throw these scenes in here because for the fans.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't really a fan, so I'm just watching like, oh, I'm watching a lot of extra shit that maybe doesn't need to be here.
Yeah.
It's kind of one of the age-old questions for people who are fans of the Lord of the Rings, and you're trying to get someone into the movie series that's not a fan.
Mm-hmm.
Do you show them the extended edition?
Do they need to watch the 10-minute extended vision part of like the trees just kind of walking around talking to each other?
If it's someone who's like, I've never been that interested in Lord of the Rings, you probably don't show them the extended edition. That's for your second viewing.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the complete edition probably should have been my second viewing,
Yeah.
not my first. But I kind of threw it out to you. I'm like, there's three versions. Which one? Like, let's sync up so we're watching the same one. And you're like, let's watch the complete. I'm like, fucking, let's do it.
Well, it's like, did you come to the house the night that we did Blade Runner
Uh,
when we were doing the movie nights back in the day?
no, I've not seen Blade Runner. Uh, like the new one or like the old one? Old
The
one.
old one.
Yeah, I've seen that one once. And
Okay.
I watched it on like Max.
Yeah, we were trying to like do this thing where it's like once a month we'd have people come over to the house and watch movies.
Mm-hmm.
And for some reason my dumb ass went, "Let's watch the director's complete cut of fucking Blade Runner." And that movie is slow.
Yeah,
And the air went out of the room in the first hour.
yeah.
And I felt so fucking bad for everyone that came over. But I had never seen it either, and then I realized this is why they trimmed it for theaters.
Yeah. So, what would you think? What would you give the Dawn of the Dead '78?
I would also give it a 5.
No, no, I can't be being optimistic.
Okay, well then I'll start bumping it up one.
Well, that's me. I just need a more pessimistic. Lance is. We've done this for a couple years. Lance has lost his shine. It's
No,
gonna.
not at all. Not at all. It's just I'm trying to get especially in the old school or new school videos, I'm trying to hone it in on what makes the difference between the 2.
Mm-hmm.
So, how about the 2004?
I think this one's a 7 for me.
All right.
I was mulling like, is it a 6? No, it's. This is like the third or fourth time I watched it, and I'm probably gonna watch it again at some point in time in the future. Just 'cause this is kind of fun.
It is.
It's not necessarily a great movie, but I feel the tension in this one a lot more than the old one,
Agreed.
and that kind of makes it more fun to watch, I think.
Yeah, there's like a lot of them running around doing like shopping and like fucking around in the mall, you know, in the versions that we watched. And then there's also the scene where it's like they fly over an area in the helicopter, and there's a lot of like the rednecks shooting at zombies and cops like, you know, drinking water and shit.
Now,
And it was just like,
now, before we get too deep into that one, what are you going to give the 2004 version?
oh, I go to 7.
Okay, at least got that one right. So, I guess spoilers for a 78 and 2004 ones that I've.
If you're about to shut this off because you're like, cops drinking coffee, thanks for fucking the movie up for me, Lance. The movie was made in 78.
Yeah, yeah. Which I think is still probably worth watching. And this one I think is good. This is a good movie. It's probably my favorite Zack Snyder movie, which isn't hard. Because he's got some stuff in that I'm like, this is okay. And a lot of, like, the more we get to present with his movies, the more I'm like, I'm done with. I'm done with Zack Snyder.
I think I'm fine with Zack Snyder, especially like Watchmen. I fucking loved the Watchmen movie. But the thing that's weird, and I'll go ahead and say it because I know someone's going to call me on it that remembers. Like, when I saw it in the theater, I was so disappointed in the ending of that movie.
Because it was different than the comic.
Yeah, and it really fucking bummed me out. And I went and I talked. I'm not going to talk about it too much here.
Like what it was or whatever.
Yeah, and then I went and talked to a buddy of mine about like why they did it, and he basically just said something very concise, and it made complete and perfect sense.
So yeah, it wasn't like go back and like think about what the comic did, and you're like, oh, that's dumb.
It makes sense. Like in the comic, it was interesting. You know, like what they did, it was pretty fucking interesting. And then in the HBO series that came out for the Watchmen, it's like they went and kind of tried to do a continuation on the comic book, but they took it in a completely different direction. So, but if y'all want to see us watch the Watchmen, you know, let us know.
Who watches the Watchmen? Maybe us.
Maybe us if you want to see it. But yeah, it was just.
So, I mean, Zack Snyder did like this one.
Yeah.
And I guess one of the names I noticed when I was watching the 2004 one was James Gunn.
Yeah, he was one of the screenwriters.
Yeah. And I'm like, oh shit.
Me too. I did the same thing. I was like, oh, okay, all right. I could see his now how he does his little things in the movie.
And I guess probably how like him and Zack Snyder are kind of connected because you're like, why would they give DC to James Gunn? Well, I think because Snyder and him are probably close enough. I don't know if they're friends or not. I don't fucking know anything about them. But it's kind of like, oh, well, it's now they're pulling James Gunn into DC.
And it's going to be dark. Everything's going to be super dark.
Well, I mean, with James Gunn, I don't think so.
Well, it's going to be dark comedy.
Dark comedy is okay.
Yeah, because that's how the
Peacemaker and the Suicide Squad and stuff was.
Yeah, and also Guardians of the Galaxy
Volume 3. But then you watch Guardians of the Galaxy, the holiday special, and that one's just goofy.
It's goofy, but it takes a really dark. It has a really dark beginning because like. Yeah, just the way that Star-Lord is in the beginning of the episodes, he's just he. Well, we're not talking about that.
Imagine you're writing a movie series and someone's like, "Hey, you know that movie series you're writing? Yeah, we killed off your character. Sorry about that. Write a third movie, please." And you're like, "Yeah, fuck you guys. I was doing a thing here."
Yeah. It was so weird.
But so he was involved in Dawn of the Dead,
and that surprised me.
And I remember this movie like revitalizing zombie movies. Because I guess Dawn of the Dead, the 78 one, was a sequel to Night of the Living Dead.
Yes.
And Night of the Living Dead was like establishing what zombie movies were. And then from whatever it was, like the 60s something or other, to like 2004, people were making zombie movies. And then like in Dawn of the Dead 2004 comes out and they're like, you know what zombies are? They're fast now. And it just kind of like, people are like, what the fuck is fast zombies? This shit is garbage. But then you watch it and it's like different. Now they've taken like the formula and like twisted it and done it different. And now, come on, 20-ish more years later, people are like, fast zombies, we've seen that shit. We need zombie movies are boring. And we've kind of gone back through the lull of zombie movies. But like this was the thing that came out and like made zombie movies interesting again.
Yeah, George A. Romero, I guess, is the one who started it here. But I remember that Steven showed me a guy named Fulci, which I think is a French director who was like one of the firsts who did it way back in the day in a movie I think called Zombie. I'll have to look that up. See,
like Zeo and Beyond.
I think so.
See, I thought, yeah,
I might be wrong.
yeah, I think Zombie Two.
Electric Boogaloo.
No, I think it's called Zombie Two, and it was made in response to um, Night of the Living Dead. I think because Zombie is 1970. I think that's the one I'm thinking of.
Who's the director?
Lucio Fulci
Okay, Lucio Fulci. All right, so I
from
was
79, which means it's after Dawn of the Dead.
okay.
Yeah,
But like that
if you look
dude,
at it, Zombie, it's called originally called ZOMBI 2,
yeah, zombie.
Zombie 2, and it was a air quotes sequel to Night of the Living Dead because over in like Europe, you can just that's why I like Troll 2. Like what the fuck is Troll 1?
I mean,
It's got nothing to do with whatever it is. Someone just saw like a movie called Troll and they're like, yeah, fuck it, Troll 2. Another Italian guy took it. But you can just take you can just take the title of something else, put a 2 after it. You're fine. You can make that movie, and it's got nothing to do with the other one. So someone saw like Night of the Living Dead, it's like, nah, fucking Zombie 2. There we go. I made a sequel to Night of the Living Dead.
okay,
And it's not actually a sequel, it's just some other guy making a movie.
interesting. All right, I never made that connection. I just
The only reason I know that is because they talked about Zombie 2 in on Red Letter Media in one of the best of the worst episodes.
oh, okay.
Where I guess Jay Bauman a little bit knows it is a bit into like the giallo genre, which is Italian slasher fix. So he's a bit more well versed in that shit. 'Cause not me.
I remembered Steven showing me the zombie, the Fulci movie because apparently Fulci was like the best at showing neck damage. Like his neck damage scenes were like where George I remember had the zombies taking big ass bites out of your forearm and stuff like
yeah,
that.
yeah.
Apparently, this guy had like the amazing like zombies clawing at your fucking neck stuff, and it was an interesting movie, but it's like I don't remember a lot about it, so it wasn't that impactful, I guess.
I think like there's a scene in it which like a guy opens a cabinet and a zombie head comes flying and like bites him in the neck
Jeez,
or something.
spring-loaded zombie heads, no.
But it's zombies were new and different, and that's kind of like Dawn of the Dead was kind of like Romero's second movie, I think. And I think it's the same world essentially. Like Night of the Living Dead happened, and now we're in zombie apocalypse land, and we're following these people as they try to survive. And one of them happens to be a news guy, and he's like, "Well, fuck, I got the news chopper. We're stealing it and just leaving." So him and his girlfriend are like, "Hey, fuck it, we're gonna go meet up with my police friend, or I guess he was my SWAT friend, and we're gonna pick him up, and then we're just gonna fly to Canada." And during that little SWAT incident, because we kind of now we've established them and set up the world, we cut over to the SWAT team and him. Was his name Steve? No, Steve was the pilot. His name was
You're talking about Roger.
Roger. Roger ends up meeting Peter. Like, and you get to see like this, like, fuck, we're fucked. Peter, well,
Known white man.
let's fucking get the fuck out of here. I got a chopper coming.
Yeah.
And then I kind of like the meeting when Steve and what's his name? It begins with an F.
The girl?
Yeah. Fran?
That would be Francine.
Fran, okay. They land and the other cops are like, and like, well, you got your thing. We're just robbing this place too because we're going to an island.
Yeah, and that was weird, right?
Yeah, I thought it was just kind of a fun little like, oh, you guys are fucking dipping and stealing some shit. Well, we're stealing this shit. You're just stealing fuel. Yeah, you can have it.
Yeah, like
whatever.
the way they were acting, I thought they were bad guys who put on cop uniforms.
No. There were just some cops that were like, yeah, we're fucking out of here.
Yeah.
Fuck this place. We're done.
They were so goofy. Like when they're launching the boat, it's like, do you get cigarettes? I need cigarettes. And the guy's like, well, stop and get cigarettes. It was like, okay, I know they're important.
But I found that little bit interesting because in Dawn of the Dead, the 2004 one,
That's what they're doing.
they're going to an island and stuff. And so it's kind of like this movie. It's a remake, I guess, because they took the name and the premise, but they did something different with it.
Completely. The storyline is night and day different. And then like, I get it might just be the version that we watched, but it was like there was so much stuff like them shopping, and then like them. I thought it was interesting because it's like it's showing you how they're whiling away the time.
If you're stuck in a they got to a mall, they showed up. There's some zombies there. Start setting some shit up. It's like here's how they go about and get some tools. It's like okay, and Oh, it's like here, the door works this way. And it says, this is how you close and lock the door. It's like, oh, the zombie got his gun. Isn't that wacky? And then he comes back later, still holding the same fucking guns, and grabs a different guy's gun. Like he exchanges guns with him.
Yeah.
It's like, I like this gun
Yeah,
better.
I'll take the assault rifle and then I'll just give you back this sporting rifle. Yeah, it was weird.
I mean, like some of the same little zombies showing back up like, occasionally, and it's silly.
Yeah,
And but then you go through them like running around the shop and be like, this is how you would do this, and this is how you would do that, and they've got this place up here, and like it's through the power station or whatever, and if we ever get raided, let's set up a wall so they can't see this door frame. It's like, why don't we just block the door? It's like, oh, if we put up a wall, they won't even know there's something here.
yeah, and that pays off later.
Yeah.
But I had my Brody Bruce moment from Mallrats. I had my Brody Bruce moment in this movie where it's like they showed where they're turning on all the stuff. The music comes on, the fountains come on, then the fucking escalators come on, and all the zombies that were on the escalator are just like, "Brr," you know.
Flying up the escalator.
Well, it had this one older guy that was just like, "Brr." You could see he's like panicking on his face that this thing's moving, and then it's like 10 minutes of the movie goes by, and it shows the escalator, and he's still on that fucking escalator, and then like 40 minutes of the movie goes by, and it goes back, and he's just getting to the top of the escalator, and I had that Brody Bruce moment where it was like, that kid is on the escalator. Where's his parents? And then later on in the movie, he's like, that kid is still on the escalator. Would someone please suffocate this thing? But yeah, it was so weird that they kept like glancing back to this dude. And then you had the Hare Krishna zombie. But they're like so slow moving.
And they're just like non-threatening because like they're walking around and like, oh, he's there and he got you, and now he's just on top of you, just like, hey, I got my on top of you, and you're like, yeah, quit it.
Yeah, and they all do like the stiff arm, like,
It's like, hey, I'm a zombie, and she's like, yeah, I mean, stop being a zombie, and everyone else is like, he's got a zombie on him. Yeah. He's like, I got them. They're just not threatening at all.
not at all. And like, it it becomes super obvious just how non-threatening they are when Roger starts running around, he's just like, bah!
It's running past the car, and I'm like, hey, psh.
Yeah, he's like
Shit, but he's
just kind of
a zombie.
knocking him out the way, just casually,
Yeah.
and then he gets to the fucking yippee ki yahoo wee, like he's having fun,
Yeah.
dipping in and out of these fucking dudes.
And you kind of understand why he gets bit eventually. It's just kind of like, look at these old motherfuckers. Look, just pick them up and throw them around.
Yeah.
Like, they're not dangerous at all. And then one of them finally gets him in the fucking leg, I guess it was.
Yeah, in the calf.
Yeah. It's kind of like, oh, fuck. Just takes one.
But it's like that was a super Murphy moment where it's like he leans into the truck. Of course, he has his leg dangling out of the truck for some reason.
And he's just so non-fucking like Sean. Like, yeah, fucking whatever. It's like, I left my bag in the car. It's like, dude, fucking, we're doing a thing here. Like, it seems silly, but this shit's dangerous.
Yeah, it's just the way he gets chumped, especially for his like. Do you see how athletic that dude was? Like when he was jumping out of trucks, he was like jumping out of like 6 or 7 foot high things. Like I think the guy was an acrobat
Yeah, he was real fucking. He was good.
or something because he was like doing these high jumps and like doing like these vaults and shit. Like the I don't know who Scott Rainier Rainiger.
The guy who played Roger.
Yeah, I don't know who he is. I don't know what his background is, but like you could tell the dude was like in shape. The other thing that was bothering me about the original is like the super overacting. It's the whole scene where he was like, "Don't let me come back as one of these things," and he's like doing most of his face. You can just see like from his nose up, where he's like leaning on Peter, and like his eyes are fucking huge, and like he's overacting it so much that it's distracting. And that's I think how you could tell if the movie was like played for serious or if it was like B movie quality.
I think it was just for fucking show zombies getting shot in the fucking head.
Yeah, and because that was the bulk of it. Like I never, for the most part, felt like the main characters were in any danger until like the last 30 minutes of the movie.
Yeah. I mean, like, it was to the point where Roger got bit. I'm like, oh, fuck, Roger got bit. I was not expecting to get bit at all.
Yeah, but then you have like 40 more minutes of him trying on hats, and
He got bit, and you see the slow decay, because that's still, I think, early on, we were like, the bite kills you.
Yeah, they figure that out.
Yeah, that you get bit and you just don't get better.
But it's
But
like
he still got to live in the mall for like a couple days, just kind of being fucking silly, being wheeled around in a little wheelbarrow, and like, yeah, on a wheelbarrow.
But see, that's not how it started. Like I think it's Day of the Dead. Like the dead just get up. Like people
And
who had been,
Night of the Living Dead or whatever.
yeah, Night of the Living Dead, the dead just get up. It's like there's nothing there's no catalyst. It just happens. And there's that line that they said, when there's no room in hell, the dead,
Will
walk the earth.
Yeah.
Um,
Which is such a great fucking line.
it is. It is. And the funny part is that popped in my head right before Peter delivered the line, and I was like, yeah.
Well, he said it again in this one.
He did, as the Reverend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They brought back the Reverend, or they brought back Peter.
George A. Romero.
Was that who the biker was in the original one?
Yes. He was the guy with the comb knife.
Okay. And then they brought back Roger.
Yeah, Roger was the sheriff.
Yeah, as it's three people they show on TV while they were
You
sitting.
gotta shoot him in the head, because that was Romero. Who's like, we gotta, what was it? We got a jerker or whatever.
Yeah, Twitcher.
Yeah, Twitcher. That was Romero, and then there was the other cop that was like, I don't know what to tell you. I don't have time to talk to you about this. Who was almost like the scientist in the first movie, where he was like, you have to depart yourself from logic. Yeah. You have to be logical. You can't be passionate about this stuff.
The talking bit was the one on TV.
Yeah. Where the guy was basically, he was giving them the answers, which it's funny, and this is going to be a little bit of a political blah blah at this point, but it's like, if you look at what that guy was talking about, he's like, it's not Republican, it's not Democrat, this is not them against us, this isn't what people are doing to us, there's no conspiracy theory here, this is what it is, and this is what you need to do to survive it. And it just reminded me of the whole COVID-19 thing.
Yeah, well, it's at the beginning of the 78 version. You have the guy on TV talking about it, and the entire news crew is being like, fuck you.
You're telling me you gotta kill your loved one? And he's like, it's not your loved one at that point.
Yeah, listen, man. Put on a fucking mask. Last week you said don't put on a fucking mask. Like, well, last week we were saying leave the masks for the fucking doctors. This week we're saying, like, man, fuck you. Listen.
How come you don't know everything about this thing that we've never seen before?
Tell us all the details immediately. Like, my God.
Yeah.
We've always been this stupid.
How come you don't know enough about COVID-19? You had another form of COVID before that. Well, it did different things. Yes. Science is not something where you just look at it and go, I know all the answers. And
we did it. We solved it.
Yeah.
And it rang so close to home here in 2023. We were like, we're dumb now.
We were dumb then.
In the 70s. We were dumb in the 60s. We were dumb in the 30s. We were dumb in the 40s.
We're going to be dumb in 2050, and we're going to be dumb in 2090.
Yeah. When we get to 2113 or 2118, and we get another fucking pandemic, and people are like, I'm not fucking doing jack shit.
Yeah, it's just, but I mean, it hit me. It struck me super hard when the guy went into the whole thing where he was like, this is not an us versus them. This is not a red-blue thing. This isn't politics. And I was like, holy shit. Like, they're talking about it, what, 40 some odd years ago?
Yeah.
I mean, that really kind of struck me.
So you got the guy coming on giving you, like, here's what we know, and everyone just being like, I don't like those answers, so fuck you.
Yeah, and then the guy says, this isn't a fucking talk show. You can't just make people feel all happy and warm about it. These are the facts. If you want to survive it, this is what you got to do. And then, like, all the people in the newsroom are like, boo, this man. You have the one guy who's trying to give you decent information, and everyone else
one coming up behind him being like, hey, bud.
Yeah, and even the guy that was like, I don't like you very much, doctor, was still like, get the fuck out of here, you know? Like, we're not running it. And then he even gets to a point where he's like, what is happening?
Yeah.
You know? Yeah, it was just, that was very eye-opening.
And it gives you a good sense in this particular movie of like, fuck the world. Like, let's just fucking, I'm with these people on the chopper. Like, let's fucking go. Abandon all these people. When they're flying over the U.S. or whatever, and you feel people like walking, like in the big batches or whatever, and just sitting like chilling for a bit, drinking beer, and being like, fucking woo.
Yeah,
we're being moved to an army base or whatever. Fuck it, and then like just zombies are coming up. And it's like, like it's just people like not taking this shit fucking serious.
Well, the thing
when it's the fucking apocalypse.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. It's always a party. Like hurricanes are something that are deadly serious.
Yeah,
but still, on the coastal fucking things, there are hurricane parties.
Yeah,
where people get together and fucking party, have drinks, and like just basically live it up the day before the fucking hurricane.
And you'll have people on news or whatever being like, guys, this one is bad. It'd just be safer just like go up the coast a little bit. And people are like, my fucking stuff though, I'm gonna stay here.
I don't want anybody to take my Hummel collection, so I'm gonna protect it. Yeah,
stay here in my house with my fucking guns.
Yeah, it's crazy. And just watching this movie, it was just like, I know that it had a lower budget, and I know that,
And the makeup didn't age well. And
mm-mm.
the zombie, like what a zombie is, I think is kind of out of date. They
Yeah.
just walk around being
Yeah,
like ooh, scary zombie.
yeah, they're so unfocused and they're just so. But like that's the other thing that I thought was funny was that you have zombies that are like the Krishna fucking zombie.
Yeah.
That was like a Tonberry from Final Fantasy where it's like
Just walking around and just being like, he found a door and he's like, fucking go through the door.
yeah,
What the fuck is he doing?
it took for fucking ever.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was so weird watching this flick now where it was like these things aren't intimidating or scary in the slightest. But then when they get to the elevator scene where like
Then it fucking
yeah, the elevator door opens and they're just like yeah,
yeah.
you know.
Then they're finally fucking scary.
Yeah, they bum rush him and I was just like, okay, that's horrifying.
And you've got like the motorcycle gang or whatever that breaks in and is just driving around like the zombies are nothing. Only when eventually one guy gets like fucking shot. It's kind of like, I got fucking shot. Did the zombies come down and be like fucking intestines and pouring things and like eating people? And you even had the one guy who was like who did the arm compressor things, like getting chased by zombies. And like, dude, what the fuck, dude? What the fuck are you doing?
Yeah, that it was such a non-event for those people,
Yeah.
and they even drive that point home where
Steve?
I think no
Or
Roger.
Yeah.
Or was it Steve? Where he was like basically, okay, they're going to get in the mall, but then they have like 1,000 or 2,000 zombies to deal with, and Peter tells him that's a mobile army. Those guys, they know how to handle this shit. They've been on the road the entire time.
Yeah. So we're just gonna sit back, let them do their shit, and then Steve eventually like started taking shots at him, like that's our fucking stuff. And he's like, dude, just fucking
Just let them have it.
let him have it.
Yeah, it's
Like-
ours. We found it. Like, and he broke when they were taking the cash. Like, what? That has no fucking value right now. And if it does, it's like people who just haven't realized that capitalism is basically like our society is done. Cash is not going to buy
We
anything.
turned from a consumerism society to a consumerism society.
Straight up, like you're like, hey, can I buy that Sea-Doo? Yeah, you got fucking 3 cans of Spam. It's yours. You know, that's how that would fucking work.
Does it come with gas? Fuck no.
Yeah, right. No, yeah, you have to go down the street to Old Ed, and he wants 8 cans of Spam for like a gallon. But yeah, it was very eye opening watching this movie because I was just how relevant
So
the way people act is
Yeah.
still to this day how people act.
I don't think I've watched a zombie movie since 2020. And I remember like the pandemic happened, and I'm like, oh, fucking now zombie movies make sense. And then go back and finally watch Dawn of the Dead, the 78 one, and be like, yeah, this is exactly what fucking happened. People would take it not serious at fucking all, endanger each other, like get bit on the fucking arm and be like, I'm fine. Fuck everyone else.
Yeah.
It's not gonna it happened to everyone else. Not gonna happen to me.
Oh, it hurts so bad. And then like 5 minutes later, they're just like trying on hats and bowling and fucking skeet shooting. And then flash forward 40 minutes after that, and it's just like, God, it hurts so bad. It was like, okay.
Like, motherfucker, you brought this shit in. But at least in that one, they saw it. But I'm thinking of like in the new one, like that guy they got kind of bit on the pregnant woman got bit in the arm, and she's just kind of like, you could see in the scene when she like covers that, and then later Mekhi Phifer learns that like the bites always kill you, and if you get bit, you come back. And he's kind of like, yeah, it's fine. That's fucking fine.
Yeah.
Not this time though. This time it'll be different. And you watch these movies and you're like, no one would do that. But now you watch these movies and you're like, someone would fucking do that.
Totally do that.
Someone would absolutely do that.
So let's talk a little bit about the 2004. So of course, again, you have George A. Romero, who is the writer of the movie, and then James Gunn apparently threw in on this as well.
Did Romero write? I thought it was Snyder and Gunn wrote this one.
Romero and Gunn.
helped write this one. Yeah, sweet.
So Snyder might have dabbled a little bit with the script, but ultimately Zack Snyder was the director. And you had James Gunn and George A. Romero who were the writers. This time around, you had Sarah Polley as Anna, Ving Rhames as Kenneth.
Which I was reading some of the facts, whatever. Kenneth is the name of the guy that played Peter. So they named Ving Rhames' character Kenneth is kind of like a callback.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, because like I don't know if it's connected or not, but in the beginning when Anna's driving and they do like the far back away shot of her car driving through, and then it starts zooming in, it looks like the helicopter
Yeah.
from the fucking original movie
It goes
crosses.
like a nod to it or whatever.
Yeah,
It's kind of like here's a news chopper.
yeah. Like I saw that cross, and I was like, I wonder if that's supposed to be if that's what it's supposed to be because it looked like it was the same colors and everything. Um, but yeah, like
I think the news channel was the same one too, like WDON or whatever the fuck it was.
something like that. I
Yeah.
don't know, but um, yeah, it was really. I didn't expect to like this movie more than the original. I thought it would be parallel because this is
Be about the same.
yeah. I think this is one we saw in the theater, right? Um,
Pretty sure. I think we knew each other.
yeah, 2004. Amber and I started dating. See, we've been together for 20 years, so it had been like right at the beginning of it. And I do remember going to go see this in the theater with Amber. So, God, I've been with her so long. Can't trade her in. I'm too used to her. Um, but yeah, it's weird because uh, I don't remember being crazy about this movie when I saw it in the theater.
I remember being mixed about it because at that point in time we had the baggage of zombies don't go fast. How are you gonna have a zombie run fucking headlong at a man?
Yeah,
That's just so weird.
these guys don't look rage infected by monkeys.
I think wasn't Rage Infected late after this one?
28 days later,
No, wasn't that one after this one?
I believe so. Um, but I thought that 28 Days Later would have been the original
I thought th-
fast zombie movie.
I guess I thought this was the. I didn't. Some shit I didn't check beforehand. I
Oh,
just kind of took on that. Like 20 days later was after this movie.
we tried to make this. So 2002. So 28 Days Later technically came out after.
And that was one I think had mixed, mixed. I guess interest because people were like, "They're not fucking zombies. They're just people."
Yeah, well, they also didn't like the fact that it was like monkeys that were having rage. That was
Yeah,
like,
you strap a monkey down, like clamp his eyes open, then just show him violence, and then and then he bites a man, and now you're
rage infected.
You're rage infected. Like, okay.
Yeah, they even said that in I think it was Shaun of the Dead where they were like they even played with the idea that rage infected monkeys, but they found it was bullshit or something like that. Um, but yeah, this had the fast zombies. I didn't remember them being fast zombies.
Oh, I remember this one. Like you open the fucking door, the zombie scene, you're like, "Fuck them people," and then all
Yeah.
the zombies are like, "Rah, rah, rah."
Well, in the beginning, like right from the beginning, you see the little girl and you're like, oh,
"Oh, that's good."
and then she comes in and like straight up
Yeah,
like she's like cat fast, and I was like, oh no, no.
it's like he gets bit in the fucking neck, and you like pull her off, and you see the meat, and they're just like, "Fuck this kid." And then she gets back up, and she's like, "Yeah."
And it's like I was thinking to myself, if you saw a kid standing there with like her lips fucking like chewed
You
off
would do
and
the
shit,
exact same shit.
I would have done the exact same shit. Like, cause I was thinking to myself, if you saw a kid with like her face chewed off, and you'd just be like,
You're not gonna,
yeet,
yeah, you're
you
not
know?
gonna immediately go, "Oh, it's a fucking zombie." You're gonna go, "What the fuck happened to this?" Like,
Yeah.
I think they were like the neighbor's kid or something. I don't know if they were that was their daughter or whatever.
It was a friend of the. It was like one of their friends in the neighborhood or
But
something
you'd be
like
like,
that.
"Fuck, what the fuck happened?" And so you go over to like, "Are you okay?" And then she's like, "Yeah," fucking right for the neck.
Yeah.
And gets the fucking like the good bits because it like she pulls away and you're just like,
Yeah, it was that was
it's visceral.
it's a hell of a way to start the movie.
It's great.
Because when she did that, I was like, oh, you poor dumb sap, and then I was like, no, she probably would have got me too. Um,
And it just happened to him because he saw it first. So
yeah,
she would have done the exact same fucking thing
oh
too.
yeah. He just happened to get out of bed first. She had that long day at work. Thank God for the overtime, huh? Um, but yeah, it was. I was just thinking to myself, it's like, surely you're not the stupid. And then I had that realization. If it was a person that I was very close to in the neighborhood and I saw their kid just in the house,
And
you know,
like
hurt.
wounded.
Yeah, I'd do the same fucking. So who knows? Maybe I wouldn't be as effective as I thought I'd be in the zombie apocalypse.
Like, what's your zombie apocalypse plan? I'd die during the outbreak.
Really?
Initially, I should be fucking dead.
I can tell you my plan.
Your plan, but what would happen?
Oh, I'd probably die.
You die. It's fucking
Yeah.
die. It's they're like, what are you gonna do? It's like I've got a safe. I've got two safes full of fucking guns. I'd still die in the fucking outbreak.
Yeah, well, especially if the rule is cardio is the first thing.
Oh yeah, fuck me.
I'm
It's- I'm,
I'm done.
I'm fine.
I'm done for.
Or just because like you're gonna see someone fucked up, you're not gonna go. Oh, it's a fucking zombie.
Yeah.
It's not where. And if you do go there immediately, you're like, oh, fucking zombies, and they're like, it's he was wounded. Now you're going to jail.
Well, there was a. Do you remember? Were in that zombie game that Joe ran for that short time?
I don't. I think I've played one, but I know I've run a couple for you.
So I think it was Joe's game where it was like we
Was it the
were.
one at one of the conventions?
It wasn't the convention. It was like we were in a diner in like an Appalachia kind of area.
Did he run that one or did I run that
I think he might have run it. I'm
one?
not
Maybe.
sure.
Yeah.
But y'all gave me control of the group.
Mm-hmm.
So like I had an SUV that had a camper on it.
Mm-hmm.
And like whenever we would stop at houses, I would back the fucking thing up with the camper over and I'd back it up to a window in the house. So there was no way zombies could get on the side of that shit.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd crawl through a window, sweep the fucking house, and then I'd secure it and we'd sleep there for the night. And if zombies attacked the house, I was like through the window to the SUV and we'd pull the fuck out. I had a very tight plan.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think that's when I think it was Joe's because then all of a sudden it went from slow zombies to fast zombies to zombies with wings, and like it just they kept like evolving. Um, but yeah, it's this one I dug a lot.
I definitely knew how to start a movie in this one.
Yeah,
The last one, the original one's kind of like a slow burn, setting everything up,
mm-hmm.
and then it doesn't.
Extremely slow burn.
The entire movie's a slow burn.
Yeah,
Where it's even like when you're finally like, here's some action, they're running from zombies, the zombies are kind of just running past and being like, hey, fuck you, zombie.
and usually the action is just basically seeing like a zombie face and then a head appears and fucking brains spray out
Yeah.
behind it.
Like, and this one, like they, like the opening scene where like the girl eats the man, and then he's on the fucking bed and she gets him like down. She's like, hold it here, and he's like, and then he's like just fucking dead, and then he's like, 15 seconds, he's kind of like,
Immediately.
It's like, oh, time to eat this. Time to eat this. My wife.
Yeah, it's shocking how fast they come back on
And
this
when like she finally like gets out and like he comes out the fucking front door or whatever it was, and she's like, when she's just running at her, she gets in the car and he hops out the window and she like drives away and she's like, fuck that car, and it's like, oh no, fuck you. In particular, just like I love how she's driving away. He's chasing the fucking car, sees another target a little bit closer, just veers right towards it at full fucking sprint.
Yeah, and then just jumps right on her.
It's like, oh fuck you.
Yeah, I thought that was crazy. It was just they're basically life-seeking missiles. Because the thing so one of the things that horrified me was when they get to the mall and they get in the back door, and then that one gentleman that had no arm, yeah, he like turns and he didn't have the arm, and then he just starts, dude, he was fucking booking,
Yeah.
dude. Okay, so scared seeing him from 100 yards, sure, but when he's closing on me in 12 seconds like that, dude, I would be like straight. Yeah, I'd be fumbling my fucking gun and shit. Like that dude was cooking.
Yeah.
That scared the shit out of me, and I'm just watching the movie.
Yeah. And I think it just like I think one of the things that makes zombies interesting to me, at least a little bit, it's kind of like you've got all these sensors in your body being like, hey, stop fucking biting this hard. You're gonna tear your muscles and like chip your teeth, and then you just turn that shit off. Bite as fucking hard as humanly possible, which turns out to be very, very hard. But it's like, I run as fast as you ever fucking could. It's like, oh, but my muscles hurt and they scream. Nah, we turned that fucking shit off.
Yeah.
Yeah, fuck your pain. Like, pain receptors off. Just
Shred your fucking legs, get into the target.
just show us what the human body can do. Like, when you don't give a fuck about anything. And the fucking book, fucking...
Yeah, it's also that thing they tell you that you don't know your limitations till you get into stressful situations where you think you can't lift this thing, but if someone's trapped up underneath it, you hear tales of like people straight up fucking lifting that shit.
It's just like these zombies are just like all fucking adrenaline.
Yeah,
it's like they're just fucking chilling, and it's like, person, adrenaline up.
Yeah, and they crank it to fight, but there's like there's that second of realization where it's like they look at you, and then all of a sudden it's like,
yeah, it's food.
Yeah, that's yeah. But like this had some poignant moments in it that I thought was funny. Like the first time they're sweeping the mall, and the guy is like creeping around when they first walk into the mall as a team. Before they run into the security guys, they're playing "Don't Worry, Be Happy," the fucking like elevator MIDI version of it in the mall, and I laughed at that. And then later on, when when one of the guys is creeping around in one of the back hallways, they're playing. I think We're Alone Now.
Nice.
I think. through that, and then later on in the movie when they're in the elevator, they're playing Air Supply. I'm all out of love,
Oh yeah,
and I
and that
think
was
it's
like, near the end of the movie when he's like, "I love this song."
yeah, it's where I think his name was CJ or something like
Yeah,
that.
TJ.
And CJ's like, "What? I love this song." Like that part made me laugh.
Yeah,
Like that made me giggle.
it's another one I read through the IMDb. Apparently, that was improvised.
Oh, was
There
it?
was no music playing. They were just in the elevator, and he just kind of went, "I like this song." So they, in the edit or whatever, put a song over it for him to be like, "I like this song."
That was a
It's good.
brilliant
It's good. I
that
like
was
it.
a brilliant addition. So this is why I started reading the names earlier. You had Ty Burrell, which a lot of people will know him from Modern Family,
Oh yeah,
I believe.
I knew him from this. I think
You had Michael Kelly, who was CJ, and
he's good.
he plays some more serious characters in movies. One of the most notable things that I'd watched him in was the that Kevin Spacey political drama
Oh, House of Cards.
House of Cards. He plays a guy named Doug Stamper in that, and he's fan fucking tastic. And when I saw him as CJ in this movie, I did not remember that was him.
Okay.
And I was like, holy shit, it's that fucking guy. And he was so good as CJ because you fucking
Oh, yeah.
hate him.
That's one of the early movies on. I remember where you watch it, and you're like, you see CJ, and you're like, man, fuck these guys. And then like midway through, when he's like, dude, we're coming down here. The power's off. You two are gonna show us where this shit is.
Yeah,
And
good
he's
luck.
like, he's like, I'm not giving you a fucking gun. It's like, here, you can have this axe. And then like midway through, like the other security guard dies. They're stuck behind the fence, and he's like, fucking here, have a gun. And then you're in it with him, like, yeah, go fucking CJ. And then like from that then on, you're like, man, CJ's fucking in.
He's great. Like I fucking hated all of those tards
Yeah.
when they first showed up. Like all of them. Well, two of them were reprehensible.
Yeah, yeah. And then you got the one
and
with a
who's the new guy.
yeah.
Um,
It's kind of like, can we not murder humans just because? It's like, no, fuck them. It's like, can we help people, please? It's like, no.
well, it's like people get mad at cops because they're swinging dicks whenever because they're I am the law when you run into them. But they're like these guys are mall security guards and they're like uber I am the law.
Yeah.
But like when they first opened this elevator door, he's like go somewhere else. You know, like he was
Not my problem.
yeah, he was not willing to back off that shit. But then finally he lets them in and treats them like they're fucking prisoners almost.
Yeah.
And it's like whenever he locks them in the one store and he's like, I'm not gonna have y'all creeping around stealing shit. It was like, we're in the zombie apocalypse, dude.
Yeah.
But I hated him so much.
Yeah.
And then he ends up being one of the MVPs of the movie.
Oh yeah.
And I fucking loved it.
And like a dope death scene too.
Yeah, I fucking knew it. Bow! That shit was great. But yeah, he was so good. Ving Rhames was so fucking good. Like, all the actors in this movie were great. Ty Burrell was so good at making you want to tear his fucking throat out.
And just not feeling bad for him at all when he gets fucking murdered. You're like, see you, buddy.
Not even a little. And the sense of satisfaction she had when, like, he turned and she's like, I got this one.
Yeah. Well, call back the scene early on when they're on the roof or whatever. And just like, man, you're having a lot of fun shooting these people. It's like, if I turn into one of these, please kill me.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I hope you do. And that's just, immediately when he says that, like, he's going to turn and she's going to shoot him later.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure she wanted to shoot him quite a few times in life.
Yeah.
But then...
For that to happen and her to shoot him and then have the foresight to go, oh, he's got the boat key.
Yeah, and that was a good turn too.
Yeah.
Like, because I even thought that I was kind of like, where would he have that? And then she shows that little tiny key on the gigantic fucking like
on the float. I'm assuming it's buoyant, so that if you drop your key in the water,
yeah, it doesn't go straight to the bottom of the sea.
So it's got the big wooden buoy on it, essentially.
Yeah, but like there was just so much great stuff. The guy on the other roof.
Oh yeah.
I forget his name. But
Yeah.
the guy who owned the gun store.
Yeah.
But like the game they played, Burt Reynolds, and he has to search through the fucking crowd and shoot the guy who should like that part made me laugh.
It's so funny.
You
and
know?
you're like, and I'm just kind of standing around. Like, oh, Rosie O'Donnell's like,
He's like, it's too easy a target.
Yeah, absolutely gonna get that motherfucker.
Yeah, that like there was so many fun little things like Down with the Sickness when it was sang by Richard Cheese.
That's the first. Well, I think we'd ever heard of him.
Yeah, and I was just like, man, there's a lounge version of this song.
And then you look up Richard Cheese, and he's just got a bunch of them. Have you ever heard of his version of WAP?
No.
where he sings WAP, just kind of in that lounge sort of style. Got my big whip.
I have not.
It's good.
Okay. Well, it looks like I'm going to be listening to some more Richard
If
Cheese.
you've never listened to Mr. Cheese, he's got some funny shit.
Dick Cheese.
Yes, that's why he's Richard Cheese.
That's the joke.
Yeah. Congratulations, Lance.
What?
You found the joke.
Oh no! It's as soon as you told me that back in the day, and you're like, "Yeah, Richard Cheese," and I was like, "Eh."
Yeah,
But I didn't say anything because I was like, I know it's obvious to everybody. But yeah, there's so much to love about this movie. But you can definitely like after I saw that like James Gunn was one of the writers of the movie. Some of the scenes that are just so uncomfortable because he does write really good uncomfortable scenes. The baby,
Oh yeah.
it's a good scene, but it's like, oh, you want to kill my wife and you want to kill my family? Yeah, and it's like, and he kills the woman that's like, she's so great. Like when they first, when
Oh
they,
yeah.
yeah, she was one of the MVPs of the group.
She was the one driving the truck. She went to the church and saved those people.
Yeah. And then she like super backed up when they ran out to help her when she's like, get the fuck back inside, we're fine.
Got this shit. Get inside.
Yeah. Like it was just, she was great. And then when they brought in that gigantic woman, I was like, it's going to be horrifying to see her big ass moving fast.
It springs right the fuck up.
Yeah. And the way she sat up and everyone's like talking and they're just like, and turned back and look at her. Like there was so much to love about this movie. I don't remember what my original quibble was with it. Because I remember walking out in the theater being like, it was okay.
Originally, I'm like, it's pretty good. And then having the issue of being like, fast zombies though. And I think in retrospect now, it's fast zombies are fun.
I think it's the human mind whenever you see what originally we thought zombies were, and you're like, take them. And then you see this movie and you're like,
I can't take them.
I'm fucked.
I can't take them.
And then I think that's your mind being like, I would die in this situation, and it's your ego going,
you can't survive this zombie apocalypse.
yeah, no, I would be super fucked. Especially like when they were in the underground parking lot and they ran into the dog the first time.
Oh, and the fucking one was like,
yeah, like in the
monkey bars,
the fucking pipes.
the pipes, and then just leapt down onto a man
because he had no fucking legs.
He's like, improvise, adapt, overcome.
Yeah, like that, dude. That's horrifying.
Yeah.
But yeah, there was so much to love about this movie. To the dressing up of the shuttles, the part where CJ's like, "Let me get this straight. You want to take mall shuttles, put tinfoil on them, or put tin on them, put spikes and shit, drive to a fucking harbor and get a boat to find an island that we might not know exists." And everyone's like, "Yeah, pretty much." And he was like, "I'm in."
Like, I guess we can do it.
That I thought that part was so fucking funny. Like you were trying to talk in the fucking dude you hated earlier and coming on the mission. And he was all about it. And he was the one that was like doing the most heavy lifting. The fucking hollow outs on the side of the van for the chainsaw.
Yeah.
What a great idea.
Was it a great idea?
I thought so.
Well, it's more because you see the guy puts it up, they hit a bump, and then he cuts a woman in half.
Well, it was stupid to even say that. Like they drove through like a horde of them and they're using the fucking chainsaw.
Yeah.
But it's like they don't die when you cut them in half. They're just hanging on with their fucking arms. And then the dude goes, "There's one on our van. You're still in a sealed fucking van. It's not getting through. You don't have to pull out the chainsaw at that point."
Again, these motherfuckers, he might climb to the top and be like, fucking latch on the top, and then just fucking dive down and...
Maybe, but it's like...
These zombies are tenacious. One's climbing pipes with no legs.
Maybe.
He knows what the fuck...
I think that's... maybe. I mean, but even then, when it was like up against the fucking thing, you just put a gun up there and go... You know? Like, it was... I don't know. There was so much to really dig on in this movie.
I think maybe, like... The down point I could see for people being like, they were in a mall, they were safe, they were fine. They didn't have to go anywhere. Then being like, let's fucking go to an island. Like, you don't know what's fucking there. You know it's here. And it's kind of that, why would you leave the mall? And it's just kind of that, like, we're stuck in a building, surrounded on every single side by zombies.
And there's just more every fucking day.
And you just go to bed, and I think you just, like, hear them outside.
Yeah.
And it's just... Like, we can stay in here, but we're prisoners. We're going to go fucking crazy at some point in time.
Yeah,
Let's try.
They know we're here. Eventually, we're going to run out of provisions as other stuff rots around us. You know, like, going to the mall is a brilliant idea. But I actually thought about it while we were watching this movie, and I was like, if you, me, Amber, Tim, You know, a
Yeah,
group of our close friends.
yeah, yeah.
James, Becky.
Yeah,
If
yeah.
we all just left right now and went to the fucking mall, North,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know,
How long would we live?
how long would we live? And there's like
A week?
maybe,
Yeah.
maybe. There's a whole bunch of dumb shit that we would have, but like not a lot of food. Do
You
you know how
think
to
of it,
work the fucking ovens at fucking Wetzel's Pretzels?
especially if the power's off.
Yeah.
Like, okay, we're in the mall. Where's the generators? Do they have Why would they have generators? Do they have generators?
Yeah, and it's the dipshits that I'm sure that run security up at that place. That place gets shot every other week. Um,
That's perfect for zombie defense.
I guess, but yeah, they're practicing. Um, but yeah, it's just like I was thinking about that. I was like, where could we go? Like Walmart. They sell guns. They have food. But if the power's out, how long does that shit last?
I think it's
In the third week when we're eating little Debbie cakes.
let's you go to the fucking coast and get on the fucking boat, and then just we're sea people now,
Yeah.
and then you just get a fishing line and like one of them little propane grill things or whatever, and just this is what we do now. We're now fish people.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, we're yacht people. And even then, it was like at the end of the movie when they're sailing away in the boat, and you're getting like the whole glimpse. I run a tight ship, and then it's like they do the whole found footage thing, and then they come across the boat that has the head in the cooler, and I was like, that should tell you right there that some shit's going down on that island. Maybe not go there.
Well, I think it was more of they found a boat somewhere, and they're like, wonder what happened to the. Maybe there's some stuff on this boat. Ah,
But I think it was closer to the island than it was to the coast.
well, I don't know. The way it was cutting, who knows when that happened.
Yeah, that's true. But like, then you see all the shenanigans that happen. Like it catches on fire, it runs out of gas. Like it's like you can't just be like, we're fish people now, unless you brought like a fucking like guy who can fix the engine.
Yeah.
You know when it catches
Do
on
you have
fire.
paddles? Can you paddle this boat? Like you need a bunch of shit to be fish people, and it's
Yeah.
mostly like we live in a canoe, and how do you get up north? We do this.
Mm-hmm.
And what do you do when it's to bedtime? We should do this.
And then we look at the stars and find out what the drift was when we were out. Yeah, and then you get to find out, do fish become zombies or sharks or like any of the other things that are in the ocean?
Well, we learned from the dog or whatever that they only want to eat people. So they're not out there eating fish. But what happens when a fish eats a zombie, and you eat the fish? Is eating zombie gonna kill you?
So I'm gonna say no.
It's
Because some people get blood in their face. And that would
That's
usually be enough to like
if this was 28 days later, then absolutely you would.
well, only if it gets in the eye.
Just in you.
Well, if it gets on the skin, not a big deal.
It gets in you.
Yeah, in your mouth, in your nose, anywhere it can go through the mucus membrane or any of that stuff.
But if a fish ate it, and like a rage zombie, like ate a little bit of them, and you're like, fucking eat it, and you eat the stomach of the fish, or whatever, you eat a little bit of it. I think that would give you the rage zombie.
Yeah, maybe.
I mean, if because I think in 28 Days Later, like blood dripped off one of the carrion birds,
And it hit the guy in the eye.
hit the guy in the eye, and that was enough.
Yeah, and I think it was Gleason's character. It was the guy you were supposed to love, but
It was like the father guy that was driving.
yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's just so much fun stuff in this movie.
And then you've got like we're all in the mall. Let's fuck off and show people just kind of screwing around. And like if you were sealed up in a mall, no consequences. And I guess back in the early aughts or whatever, when malls were actually like good. As nowadays
They blow.
They kind of blow. So imagine like you were in the early aughts, just trapped in a mall, and just be like, and the power was there, like, man, fucking. Let's go to the arcade, bash open the fucking things, and just play arcade games forever.
There's not even arcades in malls anymore.
I know, but it's back in '04 there were.
Oh yeah.
We could go out to the food court and like fucking bash this motherfucker in. Look at all these quarters. Let's just fucking play some video games. And then it's like, we're done with this shit. Let's go to Books a Million and fucking I don't know. Let's hurl books at each other because what the fuck are we doing? I don't know.
Yeah.
Let's go to Spencer's Gift and play with a little orb. You know what orb I'm talking about, right?
Until I stumbled through the dildo aisle, and I'm like,
Well, then you have a dildo fight.
I'll be back, guys. And you have to make like the over exaggerated. But yeah, like him chipping golf balls off the roof and stuff like
And
that.
just smacking zombies. Like, oh.
Yeah, like that all that was fun. And I did not remember having that much fun. And I was literally just sitting there the entire movie like, what was my fucking problem?
Yeah, it's good. This is a fun movie.
It's, you know, I'm starting to find out that as we watch more and more of these olds versus new, we've been leaning more in the new direction.
I think it's pretty split for me. And this one is something I like about when you make a remake. Like, there's themes, there's callbacks, because like we got three of the same actors playing characters on TV. We named this character after one of the actors. They care enough about the original. They're not just making the original again. It's not just here's movie again. And I think that's what annoys me the most is when you give me a remake and like, yeah, we did it again. I'm like, I didn't need it again. I already had it.
Yeah,
I think that's why I don't like Force Awakens. Is it's a soft reboot or whatever, but it's kind of like, yeah, it's just Star Wars, like, you know, it's A New Hope, and we slammed some of Return of the Jedi in there, and it's just, here it is again with new characters. Like, it's the fucking like, give me expand upon. That's why The Mandalorian is fun. Expand upon.
I got into a 30-minute argument with Jesse on Friday because we were talking about Star Wars, and he was like, "I thought Episode 7 was good," and I was like, "It was just okay." And he goes, "I thought Episode 8 was great," and I was like, "You're wrong, and here's why."
Yeah.
You know, and he said, "Which one was your favorite?" I said, "I liked Episode 9," and he was like, "That was the worst one out of all of them."
Yeah, well, I just like 9 the most.
Yeah, see, we got into this huge argument, and he was like, "Well, I mean, if you're going to say that this thing does it, and you're going to be like, somehow Palpatine exists in the light drive," I was like, "That was all Episode 8's fuck ups, and they were trying to fix it."
Yeah,
And he's like, "Why fix it? Why not lead in?" And I was like, "Because it causes more problems for the series."
yeah. If Star Wars was like those 3 movies and never the fuck again, do whatever the fuck you want. But we're doing other shit with it.
All the
so
numbered,
you can't fuck up these because it's like the fucking core of all the shit you're spinning off of.
yeah, all the numbered one are about the Skywalkers.
Yeah.
And then you decided to make Episode 8 and 9 about the Palpatines. It was like, why? Why? I don't get it. Like, I don't understand. But anyways, we're not talking about Star Wars.
But I mean, this one, it's the same-ish theme, zombie apocalypse. People go to them all. New characters. I was curious watching this one. Like, oh, is there going to be people named like Fran and Roger and Steve? And like, no, they're new people. There's a different story, different people, just the same idea. Well, even this one, they thought like, we're going to go do this. We're going to go here. And people were like, oh, we went there. We tried that. There were 8 of us before. Now there's 3 of us.
Yeah.
You can't do that shit. We're just going to go over here instead. Like, there's a mall over here. Fuck it. And you're like, I guess we're mall people now. And even then, Kenneth was like, I'm going to leave and go to the fort. And like, you know, it wasn't until the guy in the building was like, no, it was when the people showed up in the van. They're like, yeah, we came from there. Like, that place is fucked.
Yeah, and then, in the original movie, it was just like, everything's gone, and they're like, yeah, and he's like, I gotta go, and the dude's like, don't be fucking stupid, people need you here, your brother is dead.
Yeah.
But in this one, it was just like, my brother's there, and
yeah, I'm gonna go there. Like,
yeah, don't do it, people need you here, and he's like, fuck you people.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, okay, I guess it means leaving. So the other thing I wanted to mention when we were talking about the cast is one of the other people I noticed was Matt Frewer,
yeah,
who was Max Headroom,
and in Hyena from Gargoyles.
Yeah, and like how he basically bit the dust. And I thought it was interesting that they learned about the bite
from the big woman,
the big lady, and then the guy's like, I'm gonna go blow his brains out, and starts walking towards him, and she's trying to talk him down.
Yeah.
And when the daughter's begging for his life, and he's just like, but I feel fine.
It's like, I'm all she has. And it's like, go ahead.
Yeah.
Fucking shoot him.
Kill him. You're gonna kill the fucking redneck guy too? And the guy's like, whoa.
Spray him up.
Yeah. Like it brought into the question of, I would think if I was in that situation, it's like, yeah, you'd have to kill.
It's the logical choice. Just, he's the problem. Go get rid of him. But then you have the emotional choice. Well, now do it. Yeah, it's the right choice, right? Do it. You shoot him that.
Well, I can't kill him until he turns into a bad guy, but then it might be too late.
Yeah.
So that was an interesting mirror they were holding up to people who were like, I'd immediately take out everyone that was like
everyone ever has a bite and I'm fucking murdering them. It's easy to say, it's harder to do. And if it's easy for you to do, what happened to you? What the fuck happened to you at this point in time? At that point, it's during month 12 of the zombie, or the month 6 of the zombie fucking apocalypse. You see someone get bit, and you're just like you're gone.
Yeah. Your humanity is
You're
gone.
surviving. You're not living. For you to just to so easily be like, ah, you got bit, and even when you get bit, you're like,
Well, I find it very funny that you just said that because I think that was the overall theme of what the movie is. Simply surviving is not living
yeah,
because they're just stuck in this place.
they can survive.
Yeah,
You know,
humans.
you're not gonna live.
Yeah, humans have got to. We're social creatures, and we're curious creatures, and we like to explore. And it's like you see these people that are in this same repetition where they've got this endless things that they can do in this mall. But even then, they're just like, I'm sick of the company and I'm sick of the stuff.
And I'm bored.
Yeah. So I thought that was another interesting theme between the first movie and the second movie, where in the beginning of the 78 movie, when they're going around, they're having so much fun playing on all this stuff. And then by the end of it, they're just like, fuck.
Yeah, we just live. This is what we do now,
Yeah.
and they're just sick of each other. They live in that like sequestered like one bedroom apartment upstairs, and
That has the broken window right over the
I know,
fucking
and they
food.
just put like a just put thing.
Yeah. It's just, how are we going to get in? Psh, did you have to do that over the food? Could we have moved over to these windows maybe? Because when they were looking in the fucking roof, the guy said none of them are upstairs. They're all pretty much downstairs. Just go in one of the fucking sunlights that the sunroof's there. Um,
He was hungry for that shmi.
yeah, that's true. That I think what was it in the second movie? It was spam.
It was shmeat because they weren't gonna. You'd have to get spam's permission.
I think they
Call
said
it spam.
I think they called it spam in the first
In the
movie.
original one,
Yeah, she was like spam, and he was like, "Hey,
it's meat, whatever.
yeah,
In the second one, it was Schmeat because
old Schmeat."
they went to Mackay Pfeiffer's like little kid, or the kiddie store or whatever, and it panned by a can of Schmeat. And I couldn't get spam, could you? But I know what you meant.
Well, they don't want you knocking it.
Yeah,
Like,
oh, it's reading through like the trivia or whatever. They'd be like, "Hey, company, do you want to be in our movie where we shoot zombies and blood sprays on your product?" They're like, "No, that's okay." It's like, okay, we'll call it something else, like coffee grounds or whatever it was.
I don't remember. I just remembered that they yes, the whole commercialization of it is now playing into it because you can't have fun with the brands
Yeah,
anymore.
people weren't gonna like, hey, Starbucks, do you want to be in it? Fuck you. You're not blowing people's brains out like while drinking like a Starbucks. Yeah.
Although there was a Coke sign or a Pepsi sign in the background of like I think it was a Budweiser sign in the background of one of the stores. Because that was the other thing I was having fun too, is like looking at the stores in the mall.
I don't see what they were called. I
Yeah.
didn't really know
Yeah, I was like, is there any of that stuff that was in the old mall by our house? But no, they changed just enough of it. I think J.C. Penney's was just called Pennies or something like
that.
that. But anyways, um, if you had to recommend one of these movies to watch, Nick, which one would it be?
If it had to be just one, I'd say the new ones. The new one's fine. Um, I'm curious if maybe I go back. If ever I watch the old one again, I might go watch the theatrical cut just to kind of see if it's a bit more like snippy and it kind of cuts down on some of the weird little guys in the motorcycles driving around like popping people's heads. So and, like they didn't even really get their comeuppance. That's what I wanted. Those little assholes that kick in the fucking mall and they're like, "Eh, fuck you guys. We're stealing all your shit." Like, I want to see those guys get fucked up and eaten by zombies. And well, some of them died. For the most part, they get away.
Yeah, they get in, open them all up, so basically it all
Well,
comes.
yeah, they ruined them all for the team.
But I also liked how they explained why did they come here, and it was like maybe it was just something they did in life. Maybe it's like muscle memory stuff, you
Yeah,
know?
maybe they sense this. Maybe it's
Yeah,
muscle memory.
it's instinct or something like that. Because I liked when Steve got bit. The very first thing he did was go to that fucking fake wall and be like, "There's people in here."
Yeah, yeah, I know where I'm going.
Yeah,
Here's home.
yeah. And then Peter's just like, "Man, I don't want to run."
Yeah, I'm just gonna. It's my house. I'm gonna stay here.
Yeah, and Homegirl's like, "Well, I'm dipping."
See ya.
And then Peter finally he comes to the logical conclusion as he's fighting with a Derringer, that one shot pistol that he was going to take himself out with, and he's just like, "Nah, I'm going to shoot you. I'm going to fight my way to the fucking thing, and then I'm going to switch rifles with the fucking zombie again."
It's like, give me I'll take this one.
Yeah, and the guy's just like,
Yeah,
um,
upgrade.
yeah, and then like, and that was the other thing I forgot to mention, fucking helicopter zombie. The guy who had
Oh, that's
the
right.
built up
He
Frankenstein
was
head.
coming to get him and stepped onto the thing and got propellered.
Yeah, that was neat.
It was good.
Um,
The original one did a lot of fun little gags, or whatever.
mhm.
Like even the when Peter was like in the building, and the only time you see kids are like he opens the door and there's some fucking kid. He shoots at adult level, opens the door, and little zombie kids come out. And he's like, "Ah, fucking little zombie kids."
Yeah, and he's just throwing them around.
Yeah,
Yeah, that don't do zombie kids. I don't like that. And and those were fast.
yeah. They were a lot quicker than the little adults or whatever.
Yeah, it's just
I guess one other thing to note: the actor that did Steve was so fucking good as a zombie. Like, think about, like, you saw how, like, he had popped his, like, ankle out of socket
yeah,
and was just like hobbling around on. He was such a good fucking zombie.
yeah. I agree. Yeah, that he did. He even had like the whole
And and
decrepit.
and like the gun dangling or whatever, just like from his finger, kind of like keeping his hands in like the fucking.
He was good.
He was such a good fucking zombie.
Yeah, no, I agree with that assessment 100%.
And then just goes to the fucking fake wall and just like, fuck your fake wall. Eh.
Yeah, and like everyone else follows, is like, follow me to the meat, and everyone's like, yeah, let's go.
He knows where follow. He knows what he's doing.
Yeah, and he went straight through that fucking thing like it was butter.
Yeah.
Because that was the other thing I was thinking was they were building that wall, and I was like, I'd have a 2x4 like every 3 inches.
Yeah, it's this kind of. They built it as camouflage, not as like a wall. They should have built it as like a real fucking wall. But again,
Yeah.
Steve would have got to that shit and been like, muscle memory, unscrew.
Yeah, but like that was all really good stuff. The muscle memory stuff, where like, the guy pushing around the shopping cart, and like,
Yeah.
you know,
It's just fun. It's little gags. You're like, oh, check out what this zombie's doing.
and they've expanded so much on like the mythos. Like I know in Walking Dead, it was like if you get infected, you don't die, you're just infected.
Oh, and in Walking Dead, everyone's infected. The bite does never heals, and you just die from it.
Well, not only that, but it's like it gets introduced in you in other ways too.
Well, it's so in The Walking Dead. I think like at the end of the second season, you find out that everyone is infected. No matter how you die, you're being reanimated because if you're alive, you're infected.
Mm.
And it's just kind of like, oh, you died of a heart attack in your sleep, you're a zombie now.
Yeah, it's a yeah. I remember they did the big reveal of that, and it was like, oh, okay, well, apparently it got into the fucking like water and the air and everything, so we're all.
Yeah.
But like, I don't.
And they showed specifically in Dawn of the Dead that the old woman didn't come back.
Mm-hmm.
Mekhi Phifer didn't come back. So it's specifically
Mm-hmm.
in this one you get bit, the bite kills you, and you reanimate.
Well, see, that was the other thing I was wondering about too. So some zombies have like little face damage, arm damage, leg damage. So it's like, do they just eat until you go cold, and then they're just like, meh?
Well, I mean, if you're alive that quick, like if they like get you and you're like, fucking, you run away for a little bit, and you're like, and then you like die safe,
Mm-hmm.
you probably only got like a little cut or whatever.
Yeah.
And like the second you die, like 3 seconds back, you're back. So I think like once they start eating you, you die pretty quick, and you come back and they're like, gross.
Yeah.
It's moving.
And they don't sense life because when Steve dies, when he gets attacked in the elevator and he pushes them all out, in the elevator he's in there, he turns, and when the elevator opens, they're the ones that are still waiting for him.
Like, oh, he's dead.
Yeah, and they're just like, meh, and then just kind of turn around and walk off. Their persistence and like waiting for these motherfuckers to come out. It's like they got all the time in the world.
Yeah, what the fuck are they doing?
Yeah. So, and I don't remember what movie it was. The reason I brought up the Walking Dead thing is I remember there was another movie that established that there was some kind of chemical that was in bodies that they burnt it, and the ash that was going into the air was coming down in rainfall, getting into the water table,
Okay.
and then people were drinking that water or whatever, and that's how they got infected, which reminded me of the whole Walking Dead thing.
Well, that mirrors what they would in real life. People at the like Air Force bases and shit like that, they would like burn just heaps of fucking trash.
Mm-hmm.
And if you were on fucking trash duty, here's mesothelioma for you. You're
Mm-hmm.
burning hazardous shit standing around the fucking fire of that shit.
Mm-hmm.
And then you try to go to the VA being like, hey, your job gave me mesothelioma. And they're like, oh, ooh,
Yeah.
yeah, yikes. Oh well, bye.
Well, it's like it's everything now. Like they
Yeah.
say the fish in the ocean are like,
With microplastics
yeah,
and shit.
microplastics in them because we've dumped so much of that into the ocean. So every time you eat anything that comes from the fucking ocean, you're eating the microplastics. But it's already in you
Yeah,
anyways.
it's just getting a little bit more cancer chemicals in you.
And that's why we sit here and wonder why like cancer did this major fucking hop from like here to here in the last 40 years.
It
So,
also has to do with lifespan shit too, but then just all the chemical and processed shit we eat.
and we do more reporting now too, and we've got
Yeah.
computers that can tabulate and everything. I get it. It's just it seems like the longer we live, for some reason we don't live well.
Yeah. It's cancer is I guess like it's a mutation issue or whatever, and it happens more nowadays because we live longer, and it tends to happen after you've had children. Therefore, natural selection does not select for it. Because if you're able to have kids, it doesn't matter if you have cancer when you're 40 or 50. You've already had your child. So it's not killing off, it's not stopping people from breeding. It's just happening to people after they breed or whatever.
Great.
So
I love you, Jack.
all those awful shits that happen to you after you're old enough to have kids, those will keep happening because life's not selecting for them.
Great. Did you see that they actually perfected a vaccine the other day for cats? They're going to start rolling it out where it's like your cat that would live 24 years now would live like 48.
Poor cat.
Yeah. Well, it's apparently it's like it will live a longer and healthier life because they found out it was having some kind of liver or kidney issue.
Okay.
And this vaccine is supposed to basically unlock that so it doubles their life. And now they're looking at it in humans. And it's like, I'm 50 and I feel like dog shit. And if I have to live to 20, ooh, that sounds horrible.
Like 120 or whatever.
Yeah, like 120. Well, I mean, they're saying the average life expectancy now is 80. So that would be 160 if you doubled up.
No, full on double.
Conservatively, I'm an American that's overweight and I eat
in
a lot.
in a place with amazing healthcare.
Yeah, and amazing healthcare and like really ridiculously bad food for you to eat. Yeah,
We're gonna double that 80 to 85.
it's just sure. Yeah, it's just 85 years as doubled. But is there anything else you think we need to cover about this movie?
It's good. It's better than I remembered.
There's a lot more stuff we could talk about.
I think watch the movie. Yeah. I think it's tense that a lot of I guess beginning like movies that were establishing zombies weren't really trying to like tell a compelling spooky story. They're just kind of like, shit, look what we can do. Isn't this fun? Like, look at this guy get shot in the head. It's pretty fun.
Yeah.
This is a fun little movie that we got going on here. But now they're kind of like, you like horror movies, huh? Get scared, motherfucker. This shit's happening.
And they do some really like when that humongous lady sat up, I was like, oh shit.
Just that little kid went goblin mode. Like, it's like, fuck.
Yeah.
I'd be dead immediately.
Immediately. Yeah, I was waiting for the dog to get bit. And then that woman loved that dog so much, she drove a fucking van across the street to the gun shop and got...
Yeah. She lost literally everyone. She's like, me and my dad at least. It's me and my dad at least. And I'm like, oh, your dad, fuck your dad. She's like, and then they're front like, cute dog. She's like, okay.
I can't lose the dog.
I can't lose the fucking dog. And like, we're just gonna send the dog over through this horde of zombies with food to that guy. Oh, the zombies got it. And she's like, fuck that. I'm saving the dog.
Yeah, dude, man, talk about what are they called? Emotional support pet. Holy shit, she like really threw it out there on the line.
I think I was reading something where people were like, the screen makers or whatever were like nervous. They're like, are people gonna buy this shit for the dog? And then like someone said, I'd do the same thing for that fucking dog.
Me too.
Oh, yeah, and people and then being like, okay, we're good.
Yeah, it's crazy the things we do for our pets. And oh my god, they're so fluffy and I love them. But I think we've talked long enough.
Yep.
And we've relatively stayed on target.
Yeah, this was good. This movie's good. It's a good movie. And I think it's probably Zack Snyder's best.
It's up there.
It's my favorite of his, at least.
It's up there.
It's like I've not watched 300 in a long time, but I remember watching 300 and being like, fucking 300. And then I watched it the second time, I'm like, it's kind of...
I love that movie.
Kind of strange. I still liked it, but I wonder if I go back and revisit it again, if my opinion of it will drop even further. Whereas my opinion of this one has stayed about the same, and even like gone up a little bit. and I've gone back and watched like Man of Steel, like no, Batman versus Superman, like no. Um,
You know, I still think 300 is a fucking amazing movie. And like,
I have to. I don't think of it fondly anymore, which maybe would be a plus side, is because now that I'm thinking it's probably worse than it was. Maybe if I go back and watch it and it's better than I remember, maybe I'd be more positive on the movie.
see, I need to watch Army of the Dead, but I've heard it's horrible.
It's not great.
Okay. And then,
It does some stuff that's interesting, but it's skippable. It's skippable. What's shit that he's directed? Because I see that he was involved in Wonder Woman, but that's just because it was a.
just click the director tab. So he's got one coming out called Fire. And it looks like it
Did
started
he-
getting panned.
Did he do that? The Moon one, the Rebel Moon.
Rebel Moon.
That one's gotten.
So I think he's a writer in that
Okay,
one.
okay. Because people have. I was kind of curious about that one, but then I've heard people being like, "Man, it's garbage," and I'm like, "Really?"
No, he's a director. Rebel Moon.
Okay.
There it is, right there on the top. He's the director. So, and he's a writer.
So I was curious about that one. Army of the Dead, I didn't like. I've not watched his cut of Justice League.
Neither have I. But I didn't hate the Justice League movie.
I didn't care.
It
for
wasn't good, but it wasn't terrible.
I need to go back and watch Sucker Punch because that's one that I watched originally with my brother, and I'm like, this movie's kind of fucking weird.
I loved it.
But I
I
remember
loved
being,
it for all the wrong reasons.
it was
though.
interesting, but I remember it being weird. I wonder if it would be.
I loved it because it was super hot chicks like doing really dope shit.
And I remember that being kind of the interesting bit about it. Watchmen, I guess Watchmen might be up there for me.
I will go ahead and say it. I fucking love the Watchmen movie. Mm-hmm. It's good. It's really, really good. And yeah, I don't care if it destroys my cred.
Yeah, I still think Dawn of the Dead is my favorite of his. And I'd have to rewatch Watchmen. Maybe that would be up there. Maybe I would like if I watched Sucker Punch again. Maybe it would find that sort of a cult classic thing. Because I think that's about where it is for a lot of people as a cult classic.
I don't know. It's the funny part is when you go through his filmography, the very first thing that's extremely notable is the Dawn of the Dead movie.
Yeah, everything is kind of like video or whatever, or just kind of like nothing big, and that kind of like started it off. And then he went with 300, kind of spawned his like slow mo vision. It was like one of the first movies that did like that fucking. You're like, man, this is fucking badass.
Shit's fucking dope, man.
And then he kept doing it.
Yeah, Man of Steel. I fucking loved that movie. Well, wait, no. I'm wrong. I'm thinking the Brandon Roth one. I like the Brandon.
Yeah, Superman Returns.
I like that movie a lot.
I liked it, but on second viewing it was slow. But I still thought Brandon Roth was pretty cool, and it was one of those ones where I had to get over the hurdle of the bullet shooting him in the eye and just being like, that's fucking dumb. But then you think about it like, well, I guess it would.
Fucking Superman.
I guess it would, wouldn't it? It's just you think it. They show it to you, and you're like, that just kind of is weird.
It is weird, but it's
But
fucking
then
Superman.
but then you think about it, and you're kind of like, okay, well, I guess kind of wish you didn't show it to me, I guess, but it makes sense, I guess. It was neat.
Well, it also answers the question of like people who saying, "Why don't you just shoot Batman in the chin?" Good luck getting that close. Why don't you just shoot Superman in the eye? Because all of his exterior is fucking MDC armor. You know, like it's just you. There's nothing you could do to him.
Do you get that reference?
Yeah, put it in the comments if you get it. SDC people, and this guy's an MDC creature.
Shooting SD weapons against an MDC creature.
Yeah, but and even then, like the hardest thing we've got maybe does 1 MDC damage, and he's just like, yeah. So, anyways, we'll let you go about your lives,
Let us know what you think about it. I guess tell us your favorite Zack Snyder movie,
please.
or is the answer none of them? I hate all of his movies.
And you know, if there are better zombie movies out there,
Some cool.
yeah, like throw some shit at us we've never seen before, because we do have the series. Yeah, okay. Well, we'll watch something that you suggest to us. We usually like to see that in the comments of that particular, movie series, that review series. But we'll catch it wherever we, we'll take it wherever we can get it.
If we get a cool suggestion, we're like, fuck it, let's do it. Then they could be your comment.
Yeah. So, thanks for watching.
Bye, everybody. Braids.